Hey everybody, Roger with RG Motorsports here. Today we're going to be doing some upper control arm bushings on a 96 S10. And that's it right there. And now to start this project, I need to take the front tires off, and to do that, my lug nuts there are 19 millimeters, so I'm going to take my gun out and start taking them off. See, just like that. And because of my tire and wheel setup, I do need a thin wall socket. And then you just go and take it off just like that. And I'm going to set it off to the side there. Now, as you see, separate control arm's pretty muddy, so I do need to clean it off to get to all of the bolts that are on it. But there's this ABS bracket here I need to take off, which is also connected right here. And then I'm going to take the bolts loose here, which is where the bushings are, and this is what's actually bad. You see that's rotted out there, and it's like that on both sides. You're actually getting a lot of flex there when driving. So I'll get this control arm cleaned up and I'll be right back. So now that I have that upper control arm mostly cleaned off, it's going to be easier for me to start loosening the stuff that I need to. Like I said, this ABS bracket, that one here as well, which is also holding a brake line. And there's also this bracket here, which has the bump stop on it, so I won't actually need to take that one off, because that one there is holding the bump stop. So I'm going to start by taking these two bolts off. First, I'm going to take this tie rod end off. That way I can easily move the knuckles side to side. And then I can start taking the ball joint off here. I need to remove that cotter pin. That should be an 18 millimeter nut there. And then get that loosened from the control arm. And then come up here and take those bolts out, which I am going to note of where those cams are sitting, because after doing something like this, you do want to have an alignment done, and if you take note of where your cams are sitting, then you can at least get it close. So as you see, I've got the castle nut loose from the tie rod. Now what I'm going to do, since this is a steel knuckle, I can take a hammer and hit this here, and the vibrations from that hitting is going to pop that tie rod end up. Alright, I kind of took some of the gunk off of this nut here. There's still some more there, but I'm in the process of taking this cotter pin out, which is this right here. All these castle nuts, they have a cotter pin in it, and every time you take it off, you're going to want to use a new cotter pin. Using an old cotter pin, they're just weaker and they may not hold the way they should. But now I'm going to go ahead and take this nut off and do the same thing with the ball joint that I did with the tie rod end, and get that released from the knuckle. Okay, so as you see, I have the upper ball joint loose. I had also went ahead and marked where my cams are, as you can see there, and I'm going to stick them right back where I found them. So I'm going to go ahead and take that nut the rest of the way off, get this situated so that it doesn't pull the axle out, and loosen up those up there. Okay, so remember when I said these cams were adjustable? Well, all you need to do to adjust them, which you shouldn't really do it unless you have a way to measure your camber, caster, and toe, or know how to do alignments. But you loosen this nut here, then you come over here, and you can move that, and see how it's moving in and out. Well, that's how you adjust it. And looking at this as well, in order to get this bolt out here, I'm going to have to take this shock out, which isn't going to be very difficult at all. It's that bolt right there, loosening this up, pulling it through this end. There you can see the head there, and then taking it apart from down here. So, like I said, not too bad. And now that I have all the bolts out, shock is loosened up, didn't have to take it all the way out, but I can just grab a hold of this and pull it out. Okay, so what I'm going to attempt to do is take my ball joint press here and press this bushing out of the control arm. As you can see here, yes, you've got rubber in there, but right there you can see that little lip that's been pressed in, and it's going to push out going that way. So over here I'm going to take and push this bushing into this cup. So as you see, I was able to get it pressed out to where that bushing was flush with the control arm itself on both sides, but my tool doesn't have a bit that is small enough to fit within the area I need it to fit in. So what I'm going to do is take my air hammer, this right here, and finish pressing it out with it. So now as we see, I do have the first bushing out. There it is. It was sitting in just like this, and we got it pressed out. So now I'm going to work on getting the other one out. So you can see we've got a bit to go there, and then we're going to press the new ones in. Now there's also something I want to point out here. Some of these only go in one way, and you can see there's this little notch right here. It's got one on the bottom as well, but that's an indicator, so you want to remember where that is. And now, as you see, I've got both of them out, and here's a comparison side by side of a new one and the ones I just took out. You can see on that new one, the rubber is nice. It's not cracked at all. And the old one, yeah, I think you can see there. That rubber is just all cracked, and it was just, that's where that bushing is bad. It was making the control arm move. Okay, as you see, I have my ball joint press back on the bushings, and I'm going to use it to push that bushing in and seat it. Alright, there we go. There's bushing number 1 in. If we can get this thing to... Okay, there we go. There's your first bushing. It's in there, it's seated, and that's going to have nice placement. Alright, and as you see, there is bushing number 2. We've got them in the correct ways. We're going to go take this back to the truck and stick them on. Okay, now we're back at the truck, and I'm going to put this control arm back on. Just a side note, even if only one of these bushings on the control arm is bad, it's best to always replace both of them. So now, as you see, I've got that lined up. Those are tightened down. You can see my marks there. And I've got the bolt back in the shop. I just need to tighten it up. Then I'm going to work on getting this ball joint back in, and then that tie rod end. Okay, so now I'm at one of my last bolts here, and it's just getting this tightened up. This is another bracket for the brake line and the ABS wire. And as you see, oh, there's one thing I didn't do, and that was make sure it got that little tab gun in its hole there. So now that we have that, it's all good, and we're just going to get it nice and tight. I've got the control arm and the ball joints tight, and now for the tie rod end. Before I go and do that, I'm going to get that cleaned up some. Okay, now first I'm going to take that castle nut back off. I set that there so I didn't lose it. Alright, now you see it's coming through the bottom. I'm now putting that nut on, and I believe this was a 19. Yep. So what I'll do is I'll get my impact, get that zipped on there, and throw a cotter pin in it. So now, as you see, I've got the nut tightened up, and you see that hole right there? I need to stick a cotter pin through there, and that way that cotter pin will make sure that that nut does not come loose. As you can see there, I've got one in the ball joint as well. Okay, so I'm just going to come in through the back side with this cotter pin. You see I've got it through, and I'm going to take that and just bend it around, and now it's secure. Okay, there we go. New upper control arm bushings This side is done, and I'm going to do the exact same to the other side. All right, everybody, we're back with this left side. And I think I have this thing set up to where you guys will actually be able to watch. Right now, taking the tire out. Like I said before, it's muddy. That's all because of this driveway that we have. Right here, we're going to take that bolt out, get rid of this bracket. All right, wrench. And did I not grab the correct socket either? All right. We'll see if I can't just get it like this. Nope. All right. Got a wrench on the bolt underneath and the ratchet taking care of the nut up top. All right, there's that one. you want this to stay on. Evidently someone's kind of messed with that before. Get that figured out in a bit. Now we want to take this one, get a 1/2 inch wrench, get it in behind here, make sure you get onto that bolt. And get this 13mm socket. Unclick. And there we go. Get this loosened up and out of the way. Loose enough I could get it by hand now. Let's get that bolt out of there. There we go. And now those brackets are free. Next up on the list is that shock. There we go. Want to get that 18 on my impact here. We can get that bolt out of there. Yes, I am putting the perspective nuts with these bolts, that way I know what came where. Some of this cleaned off just a little bit, make it easier. And we're also going to take our wrench and loosen up these brackets. It'll make things a lot easier when I go and take that nut off. Come on, you. There we go. Then also remember, you've got this stuff here. You've got the cotter pin we need to take loose so we can get the tie rod end off. See if I can't get a pick. Alright, got that cotter pin out. And remember, this was a 19 or 3/4. Go. Stick that nut on there, that way we know where it is. Come down here. Get that cotter pin. You can see I'm pulling it out. Maybe if I get my head out of the way. And there we go. Now we're going to take the 7/8 and get that nut loose. And there's very limited space here, so it does get a little crowded, so you can't use power tools here. I am going to want to get this that way we can kind of keep that up. Still need to loosen this up. Make sure we get that out of the way. I don't want to hit wires. I'm going to thread this on, just a couple of threads. So I have a feeling once this gives, it's going to just pop up. There we go. As you were able to see, it lifted up a little. Now, remember from the other side, I ended up marking where my bushings were. That's what I'm doing again. Just light little taps. There's that bolt out. And let's put the nut with it as well. That goes right there because it's for that one. And same thing over here. Just a little tap. Now, sometimes you have to get it around a little. Okay. The biggest thing is making sure the shock is out of the way. You can see I am just moving stuff out of the way. we go. Want to get everything with each other. Now that was on the ball joint, so we're going to remember that. There we go. That's that. And the upper control arm is out. Well, I've got the left side all put together. Somewhere along the way, the camera must have stopped recording, but everything is now together. It's tight, and that's going to be it for this video. So if you like this video or you want to see more, like, subscribe, and we'll continue making more videos. Thank you, and have yourself a good day.